So, Paul, I'm questioning the metaphysics on this film because they didn't get Kitty up to 88 miles an hour.
And they also didn't have a DeLorean.
No, they did not have a DeLorean. Kitty, we have to go back to 1955.
The only issue, really, with this movie, I mean, we're, like, jumping, like, right into the middle.
Oh, yeah. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Projectionist Reviews. Let me go around and introduce everyone real quick before Paul jumps in.
Everyone.
And welcome back, Paul. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, and if, you know...
Back to prime form with your Superhuman Aficionado.
Yeah, I was away doing shit.
Yeah.
Although... I listened to the reviews, and I had to say I want to give a shout-out to everybody for throwing in all of my fun quips about how Mike is racist.
How I'm racist.
And a chauvinist.
Wow. Okay.
And just wrong on everything.
The pot calling the
General
kettle
purposes.
black.
Hey, racist. Racist. Yeah, and that you're wrong
Yeah.
about everything. I love that. Just random shit. You're wrong!
You're wrong.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong.
You're wrong. And next to Paul, we have what's your nickname going to be for tonight? What was it on Robot Unicorn Attack earlier? Lunar what?
Oh, God. I don't remember.
She's
my God.
Lunar Prancer.
That's right.
Lunar Prancer.
Lunar Prancer. We are joined by Lunar Prancer. How
I
you
have
doing?
the Christmas version of that game, and it's fantastic.
How you doing?
I'm just great.
Good. Glad to hear it. And we are here to review X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yay!
Yeah, and wow. Holy hell, I loved this. This was very good.
I keep referencing The Last Stand, and for a reason. You know, they did X2. They did a great job.
Oh, right.
They did The Last Stand, and they had a lot of really good ideas that didn't work well together. And then they decided to fuck up a bunch of characters. And then they said, we fucked up. So let's do a Wolverine movie. Everybody's going to be happy. And they did even worse. And so they went back to the drawing board.
Which, by the way, X-Men 3 looked like fucking Citizen Kane compared to Origins.
Yo, X-Men 3 was the greatest movie I've ever seen in my life compared to X-Men. That shit deserved fucking Oscars.
Yeah.
So then they had to go back to the drawing board. They did First Class. Nobody had any faith in that movie. And it was awesome.
Right.
And it's cool because I saw an interview with the director. And the director came on to the set one day and he said, all right, people, we're shooting X-Men. And they're like, yep, we are. And he said, I don't want to shoot a superhero movie. And they were like, wait, what? Like, we have the script. And he's like, this movie takes place in the 60s. I want to shoot a Bond movie.
Right.
And they were like, what? And he's like, I want to shoot a spy movie. And he did.
Yeah.
He shot a spy movie
And it was good.
with the X-Men.
Yeah.
And it was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It was a successful X-Men movie without Wolverine.
Right.
With the exception of like 14 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then they did the Wolverine.
Right.
Like, we're back on track.
Right.
And shit the bed again. Not as bad as the first time.
No, I didn't hate Wolverine.
Dude, there was the weird alien face Asian chick.
Okay, no, that was weird.
And there was all of the faulty storylines. There was multiple Silver Samurai that they did wrong. And it was a mech. I don't even fucking know. I don't even care.
Until the last minute and a half, which you really liked.
The only part of that movie I liked is the after credits. I'm like, I paid $15 to see the after credits in 3D IMAX. That was it.
Real nice.
So they're doing this movie, and I'm nervous as hell.
That's all right.
There's so much to do. There's so much to do wrong. And then Evan Peters.
Right.
Fuck. Everybody, we're so fucked. Not the acting, but what is with that design?
Oh, yeah.
And how did that end up being the fucking best scene in the
Right?
movie? Like,
Oh
I
my
posted on my
God.
Facebook today, every single fucking person on the planet's eating their words.
Right.
And now it's like, yo, Aaron Taylor Johnson,
Step up your game.
challenge accepted, bitch.
Yeah, I could not agree more. That, the 15, 20 minutes where we had Quicksilver was probably the best 15, 20 minutes of the movie.
I disagree, but it was a fantastic 50-20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
But do you agree that that is a nod towards the Ultimates?
Yes.
And I said this to Steve. I was like, that was a nod towards, hey, where were you? You could have helped us out. Well, if you slow your cameras down, blah, blah, that we constantly say. Because everything slows down, everything happens.
Right.
And then everything happens, And he's just standing there like, yeah, what's up?
Right.
And everybody's looking around like, what the hell was that? Like, everything just fell apart. It was, the whole movie was so impressive.
It truly was. Now, I do have to say, for those people who are, obsessive compulsive about being canon, this isn't the movie for you.
But they did a really good job explaining why it wasn't.
Oh, yes, they did.
I mean, if all right, so the backstory is that the whole world goes to shit. The Sentinel program takes off. Mm-hmm. The Master Mold program, which is basically Skynet,
right,
takes over the Sentinels. They turn on...
And I'm sorry, not to interrupt. You mentioned Skynet. That first 10 minutes reminded me so much of the intro of Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. You're just looking at it, I'm like, okay, with all the skulls... and
something
the
bad is going to happen. Well, so...
If I see Connor, I'm like, okay, we're done.
So the robots decide, or the machines decide, no more people, and target the mutants first.
Right.
They're the primary threat.
Mm-hmm.
So what they do in the comics is that one of the surviving X-Men, Shadowcat, goes to her best friend, or is confronted by her best friend, Rachel Summers, Scott and Jean's daughter, and she pushes Kitty's consciousness back in time, and then they stop what needs to be stopped.
Right.
So in the movies...
They kind of retcon that shit because...
they had to change some stuff.
Well, because, first off, let's get this out of the way. Hugh Jackman is the main character of these films at this point.
I see, but he wasn't necessarily the main character in this movie. It was him and Fassbender and what's his face, McAvoy.
McAvoy, yeah.
It shifted throughout the movie.
It definitely, it wasn't his story, which I liked.
Right.
There were definite parts where it fell out of him and went right to Fassbender, and fell out of Fassbender and went right to McAvoy, and there was a clear, distinct, this part is about this character.
True.
And there were even a couple scenes that were about Lawrence, but not as many.
Right.
She got flexible as shit, too.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, damn.
Yeah, you could tell from First Class into this, she's done a decent amount of training.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because in the first one, she didn't do much more than just... stand around and, look at me in the blue makeup, And this, she went on full, Mystique in the first X-Men.
Oh, my God.
She's got all the acrobatics down.
This scene where she has the guy pinned to the wall by her foot.
Yeah.
And she's just doing other shit.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, yeah. And Steve's
choking you out. Yep.
Yeah. Steve's like, he killed that dude. And I'm like, no, he's still there.
Right. Because they make a point of saying that Trask was her first kill.
Yeah.
Right.
But the biggest continuity issue with the movie is Shadowcat's ability.
Right. It came out of butt fucking nowhere.
And there's no explanation.
Right.
It needed one line of dialogue. Thank God you developed that secondary mutation.
Right. Now, again, in the universe, mutants can develop new powers all the time.
And they don't necessarily have to do anything with the primary ability.
Oh, right.
Magneto's daughter, Polaris, developed a secondary mutation where she would, I think according to the mutation, she absorbed magnetic energy. Okay. But she could increase her size and mass and strength. And she turned into basically an Amazon woman.
Okay.
That was a really terrible mutation. And eventually it wore off.
Interesting.
But yeah, I know that happens with the mutants all the time. But you need to explain that shit.
Right. Emma's secondary mutation to turn into Diamond has nothing to do with her primary mutation of telepathy.
Right. Absolutely.
So, I could ramble on for hours. So I'm going to let Kim take the floor and let her tell us what she thought of the movie.
Oh.
Now, you were initially confused a little bit by a couple things, right? Yeah. Well,
she's still confused, apparently.
Well, at first you were questioning me about Warpath and Bishop, about their abilities and how do they work.
No.
Okay, I'm wrong.
That was just, I just didn't know what that one guy was doing. That's all.
Which one?
Then you figured it out. I figured it out.
The guy who was absorbing energy?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's Bishop.
So Bishop's power, like Sebastian Shaw, if he was hit with, physically, he absorbed energy. Bishop does it with actual energy. And then can unleash it stronger. Okay. But the gun, he's not always used the gun, but he uses the gun because it helps him focus. Okay. In the universe, in the future, the X-Men or the mutants that they had didn't have the proper training. So they didn't have time to train and hone their abilities. So the gun is how he learned to focus it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. And Warpath has many abilities, but he's in the movie they really just say, oh, he can see really far.
No, he has heightened senses.
Oh, okay.
And super speed, enhanced strength, but it's not superhuman.
Uh-huh.
And like agility.
Okay.
So he and his brother had the same powers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But yeah, the one thing I have to comment on first off is the ability to get back so many of these cast members for this one production. I could go down just like a who's who of this cast, and it's astounding.
Every single person that they've had was either mentioned or in the movie.
With the exception
of Kurt.
Of Alan Cummings. Right.
The only one.
That fucking bastard. Just come on, get over it and come back. Come on.
Wait, what was his
Nightcrawler.
problem?
Oh, sorry. I thought you didn't know who Alan Cummings was.
Did he
No,
have an
I do.
issue with the movie?
What?
Did he have an issue with coming back?
From what I've heard, he hated playing Nightcrawler because he hated the makeup.
Well, that makeup took like 12 hours to do.
Right,
Yeah,
it did.
it was
He
pretty intense
he
makeup.
despised it. And he basically said, I don't want to do this ever again. Now, they obviously invited him back for this. I know they did. But he didn't come back for X3. And sure enough, with this, he's like, no, I don't want to come back.
I mean, they could have mentioned him. But
definitely.
really, in the future, it didn't really matter.
It didn't. But you could have seen him walking around the Institute or something, you know?
I don't want to do any spoilers.
Oh, obviously.
But there were characters that I expected to be walking around the Institute that weren't.
Right.
That I was surprised about.
Right.
Like
we're
with the
going
way
to try our best not to give spoilers in this, guys.
With the way that things ended in the past, I was surprised that there weren't a couple add-ons.
Right.
To the Institute staff.
Right.
Okay.
I think they did a really good job with the film, considering the immense gaps in continuity.
Oh my God!
For this movie,
I almost want to shake the hand of every screenwriter on this film because I feel so bad for them.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like they had to look at the continuities from X3, Origins, and First Class and say, go. And I'm like, oh my God.
And they did such an astounding job.
Right.
It was just disgusting.
I know. But, it's almost like they just said, you know what? We're just going to pretend like fans. We're going to pretend X3 didn't happen.
But they didn't. But that's the thing is people keep... Excuse me, that was gross. People keep saying that, but they didn't pretend that X3 didn't happen.
Yes, right.
I mean, there were clear-cut things. And even Xavier being back, this is fucking horrific, but I heard that the explanation is that the body he transferred into in X3 was the body of his brain-dead twin brother.
Really? I didn't know he had a brain-dead twin brother.
He doesn't.
Okay.
But by that standard, Bobby also doesn't have a little brother.
Right.
For X2. Or a little sister for Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Right.
So, yeah, continuity issues out the ass. But the movie was just... The story was strong. The visuals were astounding.
Oh, yeah.
The deaths, without spoiling specifics, were the most gruesome deaths.
Oh, my God, yes.
Like...
Without showing too much gore, there's like, oh my God, that's brutal.
Every single time somebody died, I just, a part of me just ended.
know. There were shots where you see, I'm not going to try and spoil who they were, but you're just seeing them torn limb from limb. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I don't even really like these characters. I'm like, good Lord.
Like, watching somebody just be completely eviscerated, and I was just like, oh!
I know.
There was just so much.
I know.
That was just so impressive.
Now, I have to say this. Surprisingly, for an X-Men film, there wasn't too much action.
Yeah, except for, the future stuff, there wasn't a lot of action.
Right.
And again,
Once it was in the past, it was much more like the first one, much more political, espionage, kind of like that.
Well, I feel like Bryan Singer took a big nod from... Who did First Class?
Oh, God.
Well, okay, who cares?
Yeah. Sorry.
In that it's not a superhero movie.
Right.
It's like this drama, this cause and effect, fix the future, post-apocalyptic, how we avoid it kind of story that happens to have people with powers. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, again, they did that really well. Like, they did really good superhero movies for the first two. Mm-hmm. The third one, I don't know what that was supposed to be.
It was supposed to be...
supposed to be like an uprising of some sort.
It was TMSGO. too much shit going on.
It really was.
Did you just make that up?
No, that's a thing. TMSGO is.
I don't think he's smart enough to come up so quick.
No, the other films I've suffered from that. Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
Yep. What's another good example?
Okay, I just
Okay, no, all right. Just saying.
We're just
No, I'm
making
not
things
just
up
blowing it
again.
out my ass now.
No, okay.
That's good, because you got a big ass.
But no, I have to say that the balance between future and past was almost perfectly done. But once you got into the past, it was much more about these relationships and how we impact things with every little thing we do.
Yeah.
And I liked that. I really liked that.
It was really strong.
You know, McAvoy, as I've got to say, the most emo professor I've ever seen. You know?
But the way he portrayed it, it was understandable.
Right.
And it was believable. And eventually he got the fuck over it.
Oh, yeah.
Which was good. And, I mean, I think that there was a part or two where I wanted to smack the shit out of Fassbender's character. It's like, why are you being so goddamn dumb? And it wasn't him. It's just like Magneto was so fucking hard-headed for so long.
Right.
But I think one of the strongest lines in the whole movie is when he looks at Charles in the future and he says, we wasted so much time fighting. And I was like, it really reminded me, my favorite line in X3 is after Charles dies and John says, celebrate. He goes, no. The one thing I regret about this war is that Charles had to die.
Right.
And it really embodied their friendship. I thought that there was a lot to do. Now, still, even with as many things as were undone by this movie, there are characters that now can't appear because of this movie.
That's absolutely true. Yeah.
Because of characters. Actually, that's why Kurt wasn't mentioned.
Oh! You know, you could say that. Yeah.
And Teresa won't be in any movies anymore.
Right.
Because her father was killed.
Right.
So
yeah, that's kind of a shame. They kind of explained that well enough.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
Right.
Characters
Sorry,
that were killed.
Minor spoilers, guys. Sorry.
These are in things that were mentioned in like reveals.
Right. Okay.
I saw a scene before I saw the movie that was Eric yelling at Charles about the characters.
Okay. Yeah, they did do that. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
So I mean, they mentioned Emma was killed. They mentioned that Azazel and Banshee and
Angel
were all killed.
Mm-hmm.
Without Azazel, we can't have Kurt because that's Nightcrawler's father.
Mm-hmm.
Without Banshee, we can't have Siren because that's Siren's father. Mm-hmm. And Kurt was a big character, but Siren wasn't. She could have been, especially if they're going to do X-Men Apocalypse. They're talking about doing X-Force. She was a big X-Force character, but it's fine.
We shall see. But we will talk about Apocalypse another time.
Yeah.
But we're going to get back on this. One person we are not mentioning is Peter Dinklage, who I actually really, really enjoyed in this. Was really solid as Trask. And, has really just been thrown into this universe. And he fit perfectly.
He did a fantastic job considering in 50 years he's going to be a 6'2" black man.
Right?
Impressive.
Yeah.
Can I upgrade like that in 50 years?
I hope so.
You want to be a 6'2" black man?
Not necessarily a black man.
We think that Trask might be a
upgrade.
mutant,
That might
and the
be
more
an
he
upgrade.
ages, the taller and blacker he gets.
That's a possibility.
So
why he's obsessed with mutants.
Yeah.
Self-hating
strange mutation.
I don't know if you get that reference. Do you get the reference to the 6'2" black man?
No.
In X3, Bolivar Trask is a big black dude that Mystique has been impersonating for months.
Yep.
And then they cast this movie, and it's this literally tiny little white dude, and they're like,
how did that happen?
that's that whole thing with continuity issues, right?
That's not a continuity issue. That's just, okay, you know what? Fuck it. Just put him in there.
We're redoing everything.
Right.
But this movie did a really good job of paving the way for future success while doing a reboot that wasn't a reboot.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was very New 52, but well done.
Oh, thanks.
Successful.
You know what? I'll give you that.
And we'll see how they do in the future. I mean, there's been a lot of... I read in 2 days I read 3 articles, one of which said that they were in talks of bringing back the original cast for future movies.
Which I'm questioning because isn't the next one going to take place in the 80s?
I have no idea. Because then the next 2 articles I read stated that they were looking to cast younger versions of Scott, Jean, and Ro.
Really?
And that it's off and on confirmed that Tatum will be Gambit in the next movie.
It's pretty much confirmed at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it was confirmed, then it was unconfirmed, and now it's reconfirmed, and then it's like backwards confirmed, and this confirmed is dating that confirmed, but this confirmed's not really sure if it wants a commitment with that confirmed. So there's a lot of confusion.
Good old movie news.
Yeah.
I don't have much more to say about this other than I'm thoroughly impressed with how they managed to not royally fuck up this screenplay. Because it could have gone wrong in so many places.
It very easily could have been destroyed by like 1 or 2 lines of dialogue.
Because dealing with time travel, I mean, yeah, there are
always risky.
Yeah, now there are still problems with this, but not big enough to make you, question everything in the film.
See, the issue, the biggest thing about this movie is that the issues with it are overshadowed so much by everything they did right.
Absolutely. And I've always said, I can forgive a plot hole so long as it leads to something good.
Right.
Which is exactly what this film did.
I mean, like I was saying with Kitty, they made no mention of where she got that ability, of how she got that ability, of if it was a secondary ability. I think at one point she did pull Bishop through a wall, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, at least she had her primary ability.
Yeah, in fact, it's like several crates and boxes or something. Yeah, right.
And Steve said, well, how did they do it in the comics, and why didn't they do it that way in the movie? Well, Scott and Jean are dead. They didn't have time to make a daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, well, what about that time traveler guy you said who does all that? Well, that's Scott's son. He didn't have time to make him. Oh. Well, what about Charles? Couldn't he have done it? I mean, you're going to have to talk to the directors about that.
Yeah.
And, I mean, aren't there any other powerful psychics? Yeah. Who? Jean, and she was dead. So, I mean, and the other powerful psychics, they're not on our side.
Right.
So, you pull an Exodus for some shit, and we're probably not coming out of this alive.
Right.
All of the things that they did wrong in this movie were overshadowed by everything they did right.
Right.
Every bit of continuity issue was patched up by the impressive story, the fantastic cinematography, the acting from every single character, big and small.
Right.
Was just astounding. And
that's what I got to say. I don't think there was one bad performance in this film.
No.
From every single lead actor, I cannot think of a bad performance.
I mean, even from the small actors. Like, there wasn't a single line of dialogue that was delivered wrong.
Right.
Not a single one.
I mean, you could nitpick tiny things, but you'd have to be nitpicking, So it's, I couldn't agree more. And I feel like we are, stifling Kim on this review. You've not been saying too much. I'm sorry.
I don't know what to say.
Well, bring up a point. Who did you like? Who didn't you like?
Who's your favorite character? It was that pink chick, wasn't it? You're racist.
What?
Oh,
Racist.
Blink?
She was awesome.
Kim did mention that. She said in the beginning, she's like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest game of Portal ever."
Yeah.
I was like, "Yes." Portal 3 now.
Well, what was your favorite part?
It's hard for me to pick favorites in anything.
She loves all her children.
My mom says that too until my brother leaves the room. She's like, "You're the favorite." I know.
Nice. Oh, boy.
I don't know.
It's okay.
Going into a movie that could easily go so wrong.
Right.
Because, like you said, X3 had so much shit going on, whatever that bullshit acronym was. This movie had just as much shit going on. Mm-hmm. And they blended it together so well.
Right.
Bryan Singer was such an impressive director on this. I mean, to have him come back was the only reason I had faith that this was going to work out. It's the only reason I saw it at midnight. If they brought back Vaughn. Why do I know that name? Somebody Vaughn.
Right.
They did a past movie.
Oh.
If it wasn't Singer, I would have been really nervous about this. And because it was, I had faith. But we went in, and Steve was like, "You're right," and I was like, "Oh, I'm fucking nervous." I felt like I was going into a job interview that I had no chance of getting. I was just like, nothing good can come from this.
Right. And and I was a little worried early on. It seems like they were just going the route of, oh, okay, everything's gone to shit. And there wasn't a whole lot of. The first couple scenes were a little bit awkward. I gotta say, when the dialogue was a little stiff, like where they're trying to explain everything, like no one talks this way, but apart from that, once they got through that, there was no more awkwardness for the rest of the film. It was beautifully written.
Yeah.
So
it was, I just had nothing but good things to say about
right.
it.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, unless you have some points to raise, I think we can get to our final ratings. And we will start with Kim. And do you want to start with you?
I don't care.
Okay, we'll start with Paul. How about that?
How many stars do we do?
0 to 5.
5.
Easy. 5? Perfect?
Easy. It was,
wow.
I mean, this, and I realized you haven't seen it yet, but Captain America, two of the best superhero movies I've seen in a long, long time.
But so 5 stars, perfect.
5 stars. Yeah.
Wow.
I can't really think of anything to say negative about the movie.
Okay.
I mean, Kitty's ability, but they needed something.
They needed their MacGuffin. They needed something to insert just to make everything work, which is what that was.
Mm-hmm. I would have preferred one line of dialogue to explain it, but I was okay without it.
Right.
I left the movie pleased and excited to see it again.
Right. And MacGuffin isn't using the right term. It would be Deus Ex Machina. It would be, the writer's putting in something just to make it work.
What about you?
Do you want to go? You seemed like you were hesitant. Do you want to go?
No, it doesn't matter.
This is so awkward in person.
I'm sorry. I'll go.
You always like being last because you have to have your final say.
Oh, for God's sake.
Was that a sex joke? I think that was a sex joke.
I think it was too.
He likes to go last.
No.
Well, I guess in a straight,
No.
in a straight relationship, that's polite.
It is.
Anyway.
I'll go. I gotta say, yes, this was very close to a perfect film for me. I would put this right at the same level as First Class.
Mm-hmm. Fuck that. Way better than First Class.
No, for me, right at the same level as First Class. Again, I loved the hell out of First Class.
That's where Vaughn came from. Vaughn did First Class.
Right.
I think. Okay. I'm like, I know that name.
Again, I think I liked First Class a little bit more than you did. Just because of the way it was shot and the way the story was told. I loved how they did a whole 180 on the series.
Because you're gay.
Okay. So I'm going to put this right at the same level as First Class, and I'm going to say 4.5 stars. A near perfect film. And I really, really like this. I must say I loved it. And I'm so glad they executed this so well, even with the few continuity errors, which I can forgive because they led to things that were really good. Mm-hmm. Phenomenal job. Kim?
I don't know.
I mean, did you see the movie?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
I
was there.
You were there, right?
I was awake. I was there the whole time.
I don't believe it.
I promise.
Yeah, you should be way more excited about this movie.
Sorry.
What's wrong with you?
I mean, I already told Steve. I was like, we need to see this like 17 more times before it's not in theaters.
God.
I still fucking haven't seen Spider-Man yet. I'm getting pissed off.
Again, another case of TMSGO.
Yeah, I heard.
I'll give it 5, I guess.
Really? You're going to give it a perfect rating, too? Very nice. Alrighty. I'm the sad sack. I'm the one who has to go below 5, I guess.
Because you suck at life.
Thanks.
It was way better than First Class. First Class was a great film. I don't remember what I gave First Class. I probably gave First Class 4.5.
I think you gave it 4, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, this movie was everything I wanted it to be, and was scared that it couldn't be. And then I had to explain things to Steve.
And yeah, I was attempting to do that after this one. I felt like I was drawing blanks whenever I was trying to explain stuff.
There really wasn't that much that had to be explained.
Well, no, but I mean which, by the way, you were asking me this during the credits. Yes, there is a stinger on the end of this film for people who do want to watch until the very end.
It's so long.
It is.
Oh my God.
The credits.
Yes. I was like, are we sure? Fuck. Like, Marvel Studios puts it like halfway through the credits.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Shit was after the main credits.
After the main characters, right.
This shit was at the very end. Mm-hmm. And they just never ended.
Which,
Lucky that shit was worth it.
Yeah, I was expecting something like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I knew he was going to be there.
Right, and we're not going to say what it is. You guys can go ahead and watch that. No spoilers.
Man, if you fucking have Facebook, you have seen it.
Oh, probably, but but again, maybe some people don't have Facebook. We're not going to judge.
Everybody has Facebook.
Not everyone.
That's true. It's really weird.
But yes, I'm going to say that I am really looking forward to where this series is going. Is Singer signed on for Apocalypse?
Yes.
Perfect. Then I'm looking forward to Apocalypse.
Well, I have a question.
Yes.
What characters would you be interested to see in Apocalypse?
Ooh.
Would you be interested in seeing, like, AOA characters? Like, I would love to see Sabretooth and Blink's relationship on screen from Age of Apocalypse.
That would be intriguing.
I would hate to see Age of Apocalypse Colossus, because that motherfucker sat down in the middle of a fight because he decided he wanted to be a pacifist. In the middle of a fight, he sat down and started smelling flowers. And they were like,
Interesting stand.
Peter, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, I'm done.
I have to say, isn't not the other angel the one that is dead in this, but the angel from X3? Isn't he one of the 4 horsemen at some point?
Yeah, he's the first horseman of death.
Okay.
Introduced in the 90s that Apocalypse had.
Okay.
I would love to see that, just not with Ben Fisher.
Okay. Fair enough. Bring back the character, but not him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if they cast younger, and they've rebooted it.
Right.
So
put it anyone you want.
Find Warren again.
Yeah, this is true.
They can find a better Warren.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking somebody who can act.
By the way,
best thing he ever did was be creepy on 6 Feet Under.
Yeah. But getting back to our original points, of all the people who we thought weren't going to do a good job in this, was it Evan Peters as Quicksilver?
It wasn't that I was worried about his performance. I was worried about his design.
Right. But the design, I don't think was...
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter at all.
Like, at all.
Yeah.
He was so good. Like, and no spoilers, but there's the scene where, he goes to run, and he braces Magneto's neck.
Right.
And it was Pietro to a T, because he's like, why are you holding me like this? Oh, I don't want you to get whiplash. What? Whiplash. He was such a fucking wise ass the whole movie. And they're like, well, that's illegal. You can't do that. I'm going to do this. Why are you guys here? By the way, I ran your plates. You are, what are you, feds? It's like, oh my God. And then when Beast, well, he's fast. He's cool. He's a pain in the ass. But with interest, I thought that.
By the way, and I love how I actually had to explain to a couple of people the whole, oh, my mom knew a guy who could do that.
Yeah. Well, and so there was a lot of, I don't think this is a word, vaguity. I don't think that's a word, but now
well,
it's...
no.
Vagueness?
Vaguity?
Vaguity.
Oh,
Vagueness? Is that a word? I like vaguity better.
Okay,
are you trying to Snoop Dogg?
Vaguity.
Yeah, Viggity Diggity.
Not vaguity. Vaguity. There was a lot of vagueness. That's unpleasant to the mouth. I don't like that. As to whether or not he knew for a while. And in the trailers, when Charles is like, he's a pain in the ass, I thought that it was like, I've known this kid. But no. And then Magda looked really upset when he was on TV.
Back up. Who?
Magda, Peter's mom.
That's right.
There's a scene where Eric's on television.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the scene in the trailers where you see Pietro holding the little girl watching TV, who looks way too young to be his twin. Just saying.
Right.
So
I'm thinking that wasn't his twin, and I don't think that is Scarlet Witch.
No, I'm thinking that bitch has green hair and it's dyed. That's my theory. Just saying.
I think that the twin wasn't around. That is what I'm assuming. I don't think that little girl could have been Scarlet Witch.
I mean, if they went with the evolution storyline, she could have been in a psych ward.
Yeah. Could have done something like that.
Very easily been in a psych ward.
Right.
All right. I'm going home and make a spaghetti.
All right.
tacos.
So I want to thank Superhuman Aficionado for coming back and for joining us for this review. I want to thank Lunar Prancer for coming back.
Oh, right. For just taking
Rainbow
up space.
Unicorn.
Oh, stop it. And I myself am the Projectionist. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. Have a good night and take care.